No sugarcoating, this is my exact screen time for the past week, and even if I'm a teenager, I can confidently say that I rarely play games. If I remember correctly, it's about 4 to 5 hours worth of video games for the past 4 months. But look around you, yourself, your friends, if you ask them what their purpose is right now as a student, majority will answer you that they have no purpose at all. But I can conclude that most people only have studies and video games in mind. But nowadays, parenting is quite crazy. Like in my experience in Asia, most parents will thankfully ignore their children playing video games as long as they have taken care of their studies. Hell, if they study very, very well, the parent would ignore every single thing that their children do. They only care about education, which is kind of fucked up in my opinion. By now, you're already in the self-improvement space and you know how bad video games is for you. It lets you sleep deprived. And don't bullshit yourself. When you play games with your friend, you won't play until 9 and stop playing and go hit the bed. Instead, you play more like until 1 p.m., 2 or even 3. And it fucks up your mental health. When you lose, when you win, your emotions fluctuate. And after you finish your games, you head back to the reality, and what you saw is a whole shitty situation that you are in. And you so hope you can once again go inside the virtual reality. And number 3 is you're gonna have really bad habits of procrastinating. When you don't want to do this, when you can't work, when you don't feel like it, you straight go into the virtual reality and hope and seeking for comfortness. And last, which I personally think is the worst thing video games can actually provide for you, is it wastes your time so much. And once you play game, you already know that you already waste 5 hours of your time that you can spend on self-improving. So this 4 aspects, but the majority still play. So I really can't blame why people always complain that they are not successful. But first, let me tell my story. When I was 11, when I'm still in elementary school, if you're in Asia, you probably know the most popular game in the whole Asia, which is Honor of Kings. So essentially, it's a global game which you play 5v5 against your enemy. Is like a sort of dead match, and whoever destroys their enemy's towers first wins. And this was so popular to the point that the company in around 2016-ish has to actually ban their customer from playing too long. They actually set a rules that you're only allowed to play the video games for a certain amount of time. Imagine a gaming company, for the sole purpose of gaining profits, hooking their customers to play their games, actually develop a rules for you to not play the game for a certain amount of time. It's like porn company produce so many porn films, but suddenly they set a rules that you're only allowed to watch porn for a certain amount of time. It's so fucked up in this world, but I can't understand. And do you want to know why at the age of 12, after all the chaos, all the hype around the game, me, as a teenager, proudly quit the video games? It's because I was so bad to the point that no one wants to play with me. I know it's kind of a joke, but thankfully, I was so bad at the game. I'm actually grateful for myself for not actually being so good at the game. Now I can focus on self-improvement. But society now, we have been conditioned that playing video games is okay. It's like just like watching porn. You've been conditioned that jacking off is healthy for you. The quote that if you don't use it, you lose it, always sticks to our teenager mind, to the point that if we're feeling horny, we start wanting to jacking off. So how do you actually overcome the habits of video games? It's actually so easy. So step 0, and which I emphasize so many times in my channel, which is to change your identity. You're gonna continue playing video games if you view yourself as a student who continue playing video games. You're gonna play video games if you continue view yourself as a kid who having fun and just being in comfortness. Change your identity. Ask yourself a question. Who are those that don't play video games at all? Who are those who would rather spend some quality time with their families and spending time meditating instead of playing video games? Those successful person, those who strive to work on their mission, who work on their goals. It's very, very simple. Once you have the answer in your mind, you're just gonna imitate and follow those successful person, what they are gonna do, how they approach success, how they work on their goals, how they work on their mission, how they view failures, and how they overcome setbacks. Of course, you're gonna experience them yourself, but this is what crafts successful person. Not only you're gonna follow their mindset, you're gonna experience setbacks and failure. It's always better than doing this than you going back to your virtual reality playing video games after 5-6 hours of sweaty experience, and when you get back into reality and you saw this situation and then you wanted to go back to virtual reality again. It's like a dead loop cycle that once you get stuck on it, it's very hard for you to actually get out of that addiction. The second key point, which is so easy, once you understand it, it's very easy for you to overcome the addiction of video games. You're gonna bear responsibility in real life. Imagine this: if you have the responsibility of taking care of your family, your future wife, financially, you're not gonna just sit here and playing video games from now on. You're gonna work your ass off. You're gonna think every single thousand of way to actually earn money to support them financially. Doesn't matter what age you are, even if you're 12, if you have the responsibility of your academics, you have responsibility for your health, your mental health, you're gonna treat everything seriously and you won't just indulge in comfortness and playing video games, which brings no benefit for you. So recently I watched Alex Hormozy videos on how to win at everything, and in that video there's a quote that really stuck inside my mind. It said that we human programmed to survive, not thrive. It's so important, I'm going to repeat again. We human programmed to survive, not thrive. So imagine this is the base level of we human trying to survive. And if you are in a situation that belows the level, you're going to try everything at your best. You're going to work your ass off trying to approach or even achieve above the levels of your survivals. And once we already achieved this mission, a lot of people, a majority of people will start to become complacent and going back to do their bad habits again. Watching porn, jacking off, until they went down again, they have to work their ass off again and go up again. It's constant cycle. But successful person, once they reach on top of this level, they don't relax, they don't stop. They continue to work up and up until the next climax point. The last key point is for us to actually replace the bad habits with some good habits that is going to propel you in the future. And when you are that future self, you're going to thank for your past self so much. Essentially, we're going to do exercising. So imagine if you are doing video games, you're playing video games for around 6 hours a day, you're going to slowly progressive overload. Start taking 1 hour of their time, so mean that you're able to play for 5 hours. The extra 1 hour of time you're going to use for exercising. Start doing basic body weight movements, body squats, push-ups, sit-ups, and then you can progress to weightlifting, calisthenics, cardio, so on. And once you're getting a hand of it, you can start increase the time, and until you increase the time that you can overtake all the time you're playing for video games. Don't try to immediately 6 hours of your video games instantly replace with 6 hours of exercise. It's not realistic at all. Make yourself some bare minimum level standards that you can achieve every single day. And once you get the habits of eventually showing up, then your habits of video games actually reduce. Your addiction of video games will slowly reduce when you quit playing video games without even thinking about it. This is the successful point of actually doing anything in life. The main purpose of self-improvement is for you to actually forget all those bad habits, not constantly worrying about your no-rep streak, and do the hard work, especially if you don't feel like it.